people next in line, lower class and social slime. They don't matter, genocide. Sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they bomb. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids. No one leaves countries. Lie to your face, fight and die. Cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower class and social side, they don't matter, genocide. Sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. See their shit, force a bear. Fuck them back, that's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids. No one leaves countries. Lie to your face, fight and die. Cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Okay, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ron Stevens. This program is called Game On. It's Tuesday, October the 6th, which makes me kind of smile because on Sunday I said it was October the 6th, but the calendar wasn't flipped over yet. So I just looked for where I thought we were in October, and it said October. It said the 6th, so it was actually the 4th. Anyways, it is the 6th of October today, and it's 2015. And I was going to do things a little different tonight. I was planning on doing, I'm going to do a show on disinfo agents tonight. And I was going to string it out over 2 nights, tonight and Thursday. But I got a call a while ago from Enos, who I wanted to have on Sunday. But then I got that call from Florida and missed Enos. So he's going to come on Thursday night. And I think he'll be a pretty inspirational guy to listen to. Now, he's just your regular Joe, and he has been screwed over more times. Well, he's like me. He's been screwed over more times than you care to think about. But he has no intentions of backing down or laying down, and nor do I. And those are my kind of people. This is not this thing that we're involved in here nowadays, my dear listeners and chatters and that, this is not, what's the word I'm looking for? This isn't like a ball game or something where you go and sit in the stands and watch, okay? This game you're going to have to participate in, okay? Not like sitting and listening to regular radio shows or watching your televisions or anything else, okay? You need participation. Okay, if you're not participating, then everybody might as well just go to hell home. The show is about encouraging you to participate. So I'm looking forward to Enos because, I've only met the man probably, 4 times. He's a young man. He's a dedicated young man to his family, his work, and the future of his family. And he ain't going to lay around waiting for somebody else to participate. So having said that, that's what I'm looking for. Thank you very much, Jane. It's not a spectator sport. Exactly what it's not. And if you're just going to be a spectator, you might as well just go to the ball game. Because you're either going to have to get your sleeves rolled up or go away. Anyways, this show is going to be about disinfo. You won't find me attached to too many blogs, websites. You won't see, How many people in the truther movement have called me to be on their shows? None. And how many blogs and websites are you going to see my blog or website attached? Very damn few. And there's a reason for that. As I've said before, I would venture to guess 95% is not a low number of disinfo out there. It's bloody high. It's extremely high. And this was all set up on purpose. And Rockefeller made it very clear. They wanted to shut the damn internet down. He was told, you can't do it, Rocky. This is what you're trying to build is dependent upon the internet. Okay, the smart meters, the computers, the locking the people down, the digital currencies. It's all dependent upon the internet. We can't shut it down. But see, they write everything down. Okay, and some of the early researchers were looking. So what are they going to do? They're going to foist more disinfo agents out there on the internet you can shake a stick at. And that's what they did. And I don't like disinfo agents. Ticks me off. Because what I found over the years was, and hopefully I'm seeing changes. People are starting to sharpen up. They're starting to get their intent up a little better. They're starting to understand what disinfo is all about and controlled opposition is all about. Unfortunately, so many people, as more people come to the internet looking for answers, they get caught up in this nonsense because they hear what they want to hear. The disinfo agents are putting out information that resonates with the listeners and the readers. And they let their guard down. They think they found the truth. No, what they found was controlled opposition groups and disinfo agents. So I don't know who was on before me, Alan Watt, I guess. I just got here. But I noticed something in the when I was getting this set up, what Jefferson said about the Jews. And I'm going to be talking about some Jews tonight. And it's all about a revolution that's been going on for a very, very long time. But we're going to stick. I'm not starting out to talk about Jews. I'm here to talk about disinfo tonight. And just happen to be some Jews show up. And I'm going to start with one guy that I think he's been at this an extremely long time. He's way before Alex Jones and some of these guys. This guy's been at a long, long time. I left a note on one of his videos there today, Chomsky, king of the disinfo agents. Now, he's a linguist, okay, and I would like everybody to go study linguistics. It's a study in the use of language. And the guy's really good at it. So are the disinfo agents. They have to be good at it in order to sucker you in. Now, Avram Noam Chomsky, born in 1928, is an American linguist, philosopher, cognitive scientist, logician, political commentator, social justice activist, and anarcho-syndicalist. I can't even talk tonight. Advocate. Anyways, sometimes described as the father of modern linguistics. He is also a major figure in analytical philosophy. He has spent most of his career at MIT, where he's currently professor emeritus, and has authored over 100 books and has been described as a prominent cultural figure and was voted the world's top public intellectual in the 2005 poll. He was born in a middle-class Jewish family in Philadelphia. Developed an early interest in anarchism from relatives in New York City. And that's all about revolution. Okay, so you need to get this stuff, and it's all about tearing down the culture of the West or the European cultures, and they've done a magnificent job of it. I got to tip my hat to Chomsky and guys like him. But they always out themselves somewhere down the road. And this is what people fail to do. They fail to do their frickin' research. And if you fail to do your research, and you're listening to a disinfo agent, and you don't do your research on the disinfo agent says something that perks your interest or agrees with what your mind thought is, and then you go tell somebody else, I found this guy that's really talking good on these subjects. And they start listening, they don't do the research. What have you accomplished? You hoodwinked yourself again. And that really irritates the hell out of me. Because they really can't blame the disinfo agents. They do what they do. But they can't do what they do if people are paying attention. And we're going to save our nations, and when I'm talking about the nations, I'm talking about the people, not the politics. I'm talking about the nation. I'm talking about the people, because that's what a nation is. Not government, it's the people. We need to sharpen up. Anyways, he's appointed Harvard University Society of Fellows, which is a mark against him. In 1955, began work at MIT, soon becoming a significant figure in the field of linguistics. For his publications and lectures on the subject, he is credited as a creator or co-creator of the Chomsky hierarchy, the universal grammar. Okay. He was involved in vocal opposition Vietnam War through his essay, The Responsibility of Intellectuals. He came to be associated with the New Left, I guess, versus the old left, but the left nonetheless. While being arrested on multiple occasions for his anti-war activism, while expanding his work in linguistics over subsequent decades, he also developed a propaganda model of media criticism with Edward S. Herman. I don't know who he is, look him up. Following his retirement from active teaching, he has continued his vocal public activism, for instance, supporting the anti-Iraq war. Okay, that's fair. So you were against the Vietnam War, so was I. You're against the Iraq War, so am I. But you also supported the Occupy movements, which of course I did not. Because when you are anti-war, which I don't have a problem with, unless you're coming to invade us, then we're going to have this a war. Any other war, I don't want nothing to do with. And the Occupy movements, well, the same guys that started the wars that he's against are the same guys that funded the friggin' Occupy movements. Now, is Mr. Chomsky stupid? Of course he's not stupid. He's a disinfo agent. The guy believes in global warming. I don't know if I still got that video up or not, but he has a video talking about stupid people, and which makes sense. I don't think I still have that open. But he's talking about stupid people. Stupid people are people who don't believe in man-made global warming. They don't believe. Stupid people don't believe climate change is real. And then he goes on to say how devastating that is, and how precarious our position is on Earth right now because of climate change. Who's he calling stupid? So what you do with these disinfo agents is they bounce around like a bugger. Okay? They'll call out the war and then support something like Occupy. They'll call out the war and then support climate change. Well, wait a minute. Are you just really confused? Are you stupid? But you got all these awards. Oh, you just happen to be Jewish. And I'm not being anti-Semitic. I don't give a damn about Semitics. Never did, never will. Okay? I just say what the hell's on my mind. I look for the truth, and I try to get other people to look for the truth. Okay, now I'm going to run over here to a outfit that I ran into when I first set up my blog in 2006. I was looking for some links to put on my blog. Other people who were trying to move the truth. And I actually put up Alex Jones's, because in 2006 when I was looking around for who's saying what, Alex Jones, every time I put something in, Alex Jones would show up. So, 1776, rah, 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 rah. I said, well, it sounds like kind of a patriotic bugger, so I stuck his link up on my website, went back to listen to it a few more times, and I think I had that link down within a week. And then when I called in his show, he really outed himself. I didn't have to do much about it. I'm a firm believer, let them out themselves. But I get really sick and tired of when people keep putting forward these disinfo agents as somebody to listen to or follow. Your job is to participate. Your job is to pull the curtain back. We all know the media is a crock. We all know politics is a crock. Okay? That veil's been pulled long time ago. Time to go pull the curtain back on the disinfo agents. Because there's a hell of a lot more of them than there are straight shooters out there on the internet. A hell of a lot more. Now here's a classic example of disinfo. Now this comes off of globalresearch.ca, no less, which is Canada. It's a global hope plan. Not just a hope plan, it's a global hope plan to end the worldwide financial crisis. And it is written by none other than Paul Hellyer, who was the Deputy Prime Minister of Canada way long time ago. Now, Mr. Hellyer, who was also the head of the defense, I don't know, Minister of Defense, whatever. But anyways, they finally pulled him out of there because he sees space people. But here he is on global research, telling us some truth. But he's also the longest-serving member, living member of the Privy Council, and he's been in the Privy Council in 1957, the same year that Prince Philip became a member of the Privy Council. Just happens to be the Queen's husband, who wants to come back when he dies as a deadly virus to wipe out the population and save the wildlife. So anyways, Paul in his story here, and it's a very good story, did it actually very well. And he's absolutely correct. He goes on through this story about, the fake banks, the fake money. He takes a shot at the International Monetary Fund and that. And the fact that the banks are not lending you money. They are just putting in a digital entity once you've said how much you wish to borrow and you've put up the collateral to cover or to make sure they're going to get their so-called money back, which they just create with a digital entry. And the fact that the banks are lending up to 20 times of what they got of their assets. That's all true. Brilliant. So you're reading down, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. That is a really smart guy. And make no mistake, disinfo agents are really smart guys. Because it takes a really smart guy to be a really good disinfo agent. But here he is on globalresearch.ca. So he talks about the scam was legitimized when the Bank of England was chartered to help King William finance his war. Rich people subscribed £1.2 million of gold and silver as capital to found the bank, which then was lent to the government at 8%. To show his appreciation, the king then allowed the bank to print another $1.2 million in banknotes. Now, what the king got was gold and silver. What the king allowed them to do then, the bankers, was print £1.2 million in banknotes and lend them out to the public at high interest. So the banking scam is well understood by most by now. Okay, and this guy sounds like he knows what he's talking about. So we get down here. I don't know if I got to spend too much time on this. You can, I'll put it in the chat, I guess. But if you put in Paul Hellyer, and I guess what's the story called here? A Global Hope Plan to End the World Financial Crisis. It all reads real good, but you got to remember that Paul Hellyer is also an advocate of what Kissinger said and a few other people said. I think Ronald Reagan said it, that, whether real or propagated, that if we had an alien invasion, the people would all look to the UN to solve their problem. And, Hellyer is definitely pro-UN, and he's always puking off this alien nonsense, which is really ridiculous, but it is. So you get down near the bottom here. It's a fairly long thing. The stakes are too high to fail and everything else. Let's see where. The stakes in the world today are so high that they're virtually incalculable. Okay, but this whole thing up until this point has been talking about the financial system. Okay, that's what the title of the story is. You get down the last few paragraphs, the next heading is the stakes are too high to fail. The stakes in the world today are so high that they are virtually incalculable. Many of the Earth's 7 billion inhabitants will die unnecessarily from starvation or lack of medical treatment, problems that could be greatly alleviated by money and a more general application of the golden rule between rich and poor people. In other words, that's redistribution, okay? And between rich countries and poor countries, redistribution. Equally profound is the absolute necessity for all humanity to cooperate in arresting global warming before it's, well, too late. We probably have 10 years to convert every car, truck, and airplane and home from reliance on fossil fuels to clean energy. It is a monumental task, but could be done with a mobilization comparable to fighting a war for survival, the war on drugs, the war on terror, and the war on climate, which it is for the people living in many low-lying areas. Get a life jacket, people. Get a life jacket. If you live near a body of water, get a friggin' life jacket. Because it's coming. It's coming fast. I think Lake Huron here went up 7 feet today. I mean, it's getting bad. But this is how a disinfo agent operates. Okay? People know they're up to their eyeballs in debt. They're drowning in debt. They know the financial system's a complete crock. Here you got a guy who was the Deputy Prime Minister of Canada telling you how to fix it. What an intelligent guy. What a great guy. We ought to listen to Paul Hellyer. Not. I puke every time I see this stuff. And I see people going, oh, he's got a solution. He's the problem, people, not the solution. You, the people, are the solution. The only way we're going to get to a solution is your participation. But we're not going to get any participation if people are wallowing around believing disinfo agents. They're not important. Cut them loose. Expose them for what they are. Because if you don't expose them for what they are, then other people are going to get conned into following. And that wastes a lot of time. And we actually don't have a lot of time, and it's not about climate change. It's about getting back our lands and our nations. That's the only damn thing that's important. Anyways, let's see. Sadly, however, even the necessity for immediate action is not on the political radar now and won't be as long as nation states are more concerned about deficits and debts than they are about the welfare of their people and the future of the planet, which is our common heritage. Okay? So we won't as long as nation states are more concerned about deficits and debts. Okay? The idea is the end of the nation state. Period. But they spin it out, then they're more concerned about deficits and debts than they are about the welfare of their people. Well, the people are the nation state. It is the nation. And it's the state of the nation that's in trouble. And the people are the nation. And it's the people that are in trouble from all this nonsensical propaganda and deceit and deception that we've been living under since we were born. The entire financial landscape, it goes on to say, could be changed in a very short period of time. All that is necessary is for nation states individually and the Euro bloc collectively to exercise their legitimate powers as they have profound moral obligation to do. A miracle is possible. He goes on to say, Victor Hugo said, nothing is more powerful than an idea whose time has come. The time is now. So, former Canadian Defence Minister, and he was Deputy Prime Minister, Paul Hellyer is author of A Miracle in Waiting, Economics That Makes Sense and Light at the End of the Tunnel, a survival guide for the human species. All profits of the sale of these two books will be donated to UNICEF. Piss off, Hellyer. And same goes for global research. Now, who's running this global research nonsense anyways? A guy by the name of Michael Chossudovsky. I guess that might be how you pronounce it. So, who is this guy? Well, let's look him up. See how long it takes? Doesn't take any time at all to research, folks. No time at all. Get some names, go looking. Anyways, this Michael guy is born in 1946, a Canadian economist and author. He's a professor of economics at the University of Ottawa. Strike one on this guy. And the president and director of the Center for Research on Globalization. Strike two on this guy. Michael Chossudovsky is the son of a Russian Jew and a career, his dad was a career United Nations diplomat and academic, Evgeny Chossudovsky. and his mother was this is a weird combination, a Jew and an Irish Protestant. Anyways, Michael, the son and head of global research, joined the University of Ottawa in 1968. He was a visiting professor at the Pontifical Catholic University of Chile during the 70-73 government of Salvador Allende. It was the effects of General Augusto Pinochet's post-coup policies, which sparked his interest in what he termed economic repression. And among other measures, I forget, let's see where we go here now. He subsequently examined similar economic policy in a wide range of countries, often those associated with the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, which are both United Nations, of which his dad was a career diplomat. Yada, 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 yada. He had articles in the New York Times, Press TV, and was awarded the Gold Medal of Merit by the government of Serbia. In 2001, Michael founded the Center for Research on Globalization, becoming its editor and director, located in Montreal, Canada. It describes itself as an independent research and media organization that provides analysis on issues which are barely covered by the mainstream media. It maintains websites in several languages, including the English language, Global Research CA, which are critical of United States foreign policy and NATO, as well as the official explanation of September 11 attacks, war on terror. Well, that all sounds good, man. That sounds like a guy I want to listen to. You know? Unfortunately, it's a disinfo site. I'm going to take a quick look at his dad. This is Evgeny, his dad's obituary, I guess, on Global Research. And, this is a story from the Irish Times on Global Research. Anyways, Michael's dad was a writer with a distinguished UN career. So says the headline. Throughout his UN career and until his death, he expressed his firm support for the Palestinian cause. He supported the Center for Research on Globalization from the outset. Global research will continue in his footsteps to support the cause of social justice and world peace. That's UN crap. Okay? Now, what is everybody fighting? Everybody's fighting for the sovereignty of their nations. The people are. Now, what's the UN set up for? Global government and the nation states. One government, one religion. And a big chain around your neck. So this guy is supposed to be part of the said truth movement, Global Research, yet they're supporting what they say they're fighting against. That throws me. It makes me want to puke. I don't know how people, I don't know how people get, just read a little bit, people. Anyways, Michael's dad, Eugenie, whatever his name is, died at 91. This is 206. Was a Russian Jew who had a distinguished career with the United Nations following the Second World War. In Dublin in the late 70s, he continued another role as a prestigious writer on international relations. Okay, international relations is all about the takedown of your nation state. Let's see here. His family had been displaced by the Civil War that followed the 1917 Russian Revolution and by the First World War. The Irish connection was made in the 30s when he was a student, met his wife Rachel, then studied at Queen's University, Belfast, at the Geneva Summer School. He decided he wanted to be in the United Nations before it even existed. His son, Michael, professor of economics at the University of Ottawa, said at his funeral in 1947, he became one of 3 special assistants to distinguished Swedish economist and later Nobel laureate Gunnar Myrdal, director of the UN's Economic Commission for Europe. As the Cold War deepened, pushed the concept of East-West cooperation and peaceful coexistence between conflicting economic systems in which he believed passionately. He served the UN Conference on Trade Development under the Argentinian former central banker Paul Prebisch, intended to embrace the aspirations of poor countries. UNCTAD, which is UN, was a non-aligned movement initiative. He was also secretary of its Trade and Development Board, and his considerable diplomatic skills as a consensus maker, and we all know what consensus is all about, maker emerged at international conferences. He worked behind the scenes, often in the small hours, agreeing with resolutions and delegations in determination to achieve global social justice. And we all know what global social justice is all about. He was born in let's back up here a set. Let's see, he was involved in the GATT, and he moved to become director of the UN Institute for Training and Research in Geneva. Later, in semi-retirement, he became a special fellow of the Institute. All of his life, he retained patriotic attachment to Russia and a sympathy for socialist ideas. Socialist ideas. But at the end, he expressed disappointment that the spirit of the UN was being undermined, saying only weeks ago to his son that the world was now in an awful situation. Well, damn straight it's in an awful situation. He was born in 1914 to an affluent Jewish merchant family. His grandfather traded in wheat. The family went to Berlin in 1921 during the Civil War. Their property had been confiscated. His father was a gifted actor who trained as a lawyer, but as a Jew, was unable to practice. He ran a Shakespearean theater in Berlin, various jobs, including selling ice cream on the street. Let's see. Anyways, he was in Berlin. And as a Jew, there was little question of studying in Nazi Germany. He was accepted by the University of Edinburgh. His study started in 1934. His uncle Moses, a businessman who traded in the stock market, was living in London. He later left for Paris, where his parents joined him during the war. On the night French police came to take Uncle Moses away for extermination at Auschwitz, his parents were overlooked. Now, I don't care what anybody says about the Jews. One thing I do know about the Jews is they're up to their arses in this global revolution. And it's a socialist, Marxist revolution. And so why I see this global research quoted from time to time, and I don't know why. You don't want nothing to do with this outfit. You want nothing to do with it. Now, Michael, the son, I don't know if I have that still here. But he has been up to his behind in the United Nations as well. Now, one of the things I found on this was that when you go to global research, let's see, there's a thing in here somewhere. There's a link in here someplace to their authors, indexed by author. Okay? Now, this is a long, long list, man, and you will see more. I don't know who, I mean, this is a huge list. Now, here's authors. We see Jimmy Carter's name in here. And Jimmy Carter is a UN mouthpiece. But there's just some. I saw Brzezinski's name in here, so promoting Brzezinski. Oh, there it is, right there. There's a bigger new Brzezinski. He's in here, and so on and so forth, right? But you can put damn near anybody in here, and it's going to show up. Let's see, what was that? Now, Paul Hellyer actually started the Canadian Action Party. So let's see. And that's another scam, that thing. I was asked to run for that party. Oh, there it is. I put in Canadian Action Party under authors, and there it comes. And it was started by Paul Hellyer, and it was an absolute, I guess, what you would call a political false flag. And what they're doing with all of these things, the same as the disinfo, is see who they're gathering up. Okay, see if they can drag these people that are fed up with normal politics, if you will, and believe that they have a certain amount of knowledge now. The idea is, can we drag those people, those dissatisfied people, over here, okay, and then trap them in this, and have them busy over here, which takes their voice away from over there. Smoke and mirrors, bait and switch, whatever the hell you want to call it. But this is global research. And, when I went through their stories, they're so both-sided, it's ridiculous, right? I mean, here we go. I hit their environment tag. Fukushima Endgame, the radioactive contamination of the Pacific Ocean. Now, this is from, let's see, March 20, nuclear radiation resulting from the March 2011 Fukushima disaster. Well, it's now October of 2015, and the story continues and continues and continues and continues. And, all these disinfo agents out there. Now, I'm not pro-nuclear accident, don't get me wrong, okay? Was it an accident? I'm not so sure, right? Because I know what they're trying to accomplish, the powers that be, okay? So it's just as likely it was a hit as an accident. But I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time trying to nail down whether it was a hit or an accident. Because you're wasting all your time trying to figure. If you do figure out it was a hit, or you do figure it out it was an accident, you can't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. It happened. Get on with it. Okay? It was an event that happened. Now, whether it happened on purpose or it happened by accident, you know how the elites say, we need a crisis, and if we don't have one, if one doesn't show up, well, then we'll just create one. So half of this and half of that. But I get so sick and tired of listening to people yammer on about Fukushima. One, there ain't a damn thing you can do about it. And all these stories I hear, and I don't go looking for them. I avoid Fukushima like the freaking plague that it's turned into. A mental plague. People yammering off, right? Fish with 47 heads seen off the coast of California. I don't know if that's a real story or not. Could be, might not be. Who knows, right? But this is the kind of garbage you put up with. And I'm sick of it. If you're listening to this crap, turn it off. turn it off. What they want to do is shut down all your power plants. So now I hear in America, oh my God, I heard somebody yammering on about Turkey Point being right, it's at Homestead. And it was fishing with one of the operators from Turkey Point when I was down there working after Andrew. And he was absolutely astounded when I told him where I was from. We had 8 reactors. And he said, are you people nuts? Right? But this story about Turkey Point going to get flooded out, relating it to what happened in Fukushima. Based on what? Based on what? Absolute nothing. Straight fear-mongering. Disinfo. Based on nothing. Makes me nuts. Anyways, the reason I brought this up tonight, and I really don't know how to say this, but I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to do it. Now, sometime back when I was over in Orion, and I had tried to get a guy by the name of Kevin Annette on my show, and he wouldn't come on. And I don't want to bring anybody on my show and trash them. I don't operate that way. But I had a listener who told me that she knew Kevin Annette and considered him a personal friend. And then maybe she could get him on the show. So the arrangements were made, and when I first looked at Kevin Annette, and he did that movie on Repentant, and I must say it was a very good movie. I enjoyed it. It was good. Didn't see anything new that I didn't already know in it, but it was interesting. But his personal story was a little, he was a young guy. He was a United Church minister who wondered why there wasn't any natives in the church, and went out to the reserves, and they told him, and yada, yada, yada. And then he got more involved, and then the church told him to shut up, apparently, and yada, yada, yada. And that his life was destroyed by the church, and then he went on to save, dig up the dirt that the Jesuits and the government had done to the native people. Sounds good to me. And as time went by, I'd take a look at Kevin every now and again, as better do some research on this guy. So I did some research, didn't like what I found. Another revolutionist taking down the country, handing us over to the global world government. And very well-spoken guy. This is what you'll find. These people are very, very well-spoken. They're very amiable. And, they're good at what they do. I can't fault them on that. They're good at what they do. They're pros. But anyways, when came time to get Kevin on the show, I got a list of wants and not wants from Kevin. A list of basically where I could and couldn't go. Well, that's hardly an open interview. But, I kind of made me smile when I saw this list. And that's okay. I can deal with it. Now, when word went out Kevin was coming on my show, I got 2 factions coming at me. I got the Kevin's our hero and Kevin should be shot groups. And so I'm getting hammered by both these groups. And actually, when I did the interview, somebody obviously wasn't paying attention because I don't know, they called me an Annette lover or whatever. It was silly. But the woman who got Kevin on the show, I told her before I did the show that I am not going to out Kevin. Okay? I'm going to allow Kevin to out himself. So listen. And I actually really enjoyed the interview with Kevin. He's a very well-spoken, highly intelligent guy. But all I had to do really was just take him for a walk. And we went for a walk, and we chatted as we walked. And then I didn't hear from this listener for a while. The one who got Kevin on the show. And then that listener was very perturbed when I finally got talking to her again, and that is that she was, I remember that. It says like dominoes going on off of my head. I trusted Kevin. He's like a personal friend. Well, did I out Kevin? No. Did I call Kevin names on there? Absolutely not. I don't operate that way. And I got about 7 minutes out. So this is where I'm going to leave. I was going to do this over tonight and Thursday, but I have Enos coming on Thursday, so I got to clean this up today. I was very, very perturbed after my show on Sunday to see who was following my show. Extremely perturbed to see who was coming on after me. I checked this guy out years ago, and as I always do with everybody, I give him lots of rope and lots of benefit of the doubt. But, you know, you people do what you want with it, but the fact of the matter is that the gentleman that comes on after me on Sunday is hooked up with Global Research, and these are left-wing Jewish revolutionaries working to take you down. Now, I don't know if this particular host is stupid. I don't think so. I've listened to him lots of times. I understand where he's coming from. And I'm just trying to figure out, so if somebody can get this guy on my show, I would love to have him on. I would love to explain to me and the listeners. He apparently is a school teacher from Ontario. And the guy that runs Global Research, Michael, is up to his behind in the United Nations, as was his father. The Ottawa University is where the ex-Prime Minister Paul Martin was at to tell the student body there, we all got to give up some of our sovereignty to make the world work. Question is, world work for who? Now, it was the guy that comes on after me on Sunday. Did he know this guy before he went to Japan? Because I can't find any reference anywhere in Canada that this guy was a teacher in Ontario. Was he sent to Japan? Or was he a school teacher that just happened to get hooked up, interested in 9/11? I don't know. But I do know what Global Research is, and I know what the background of the guys in Global Research is. So the guy that comes on after me on Sunday, who I know is not stupid, very articulate, very well spoken, very well researched. How's he miss this? How does he miss this? Professor Michael Shadursky, Jew, hooked up to his ass in the UN like his daddy. Mondialization.ca. Now, I did a show on Mondialization one time. Okay, and this is a Dr. Micheline Laducure. We've got, what else we got in this place? University of Quebec, research associate, research associate Frankfurt, Germany. Now, I ain't got time to look up all these names. I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to put this list in here right now. You people can go and dig up these names and find out who they're associated with. And I'm not doing what I'm doing to be miserable. I'm doing what I'm doing because I'm a researcher. And I don't like people following lost leaders. And I got no use, and I mean no use, for disinfo agents. Now, I've taken so much flack over the years when I do this sort of thing, and then years later, people go, "Oh, you were right." Well, so be it. But we're running out of time. We ain't got time for these disinfo agents anymore. We got to get on the ball here and get on the ball fast. Is what we got to do. Now, I don't know if that link went in there or not because it looks like I need to reboot this thing. Let me see if I can go find it. I haven't got time yet to do this. I mean, I really, really, really am happy to be a UCY. But I have an obligation to my listeners. I have an obligation to myself to make sure that people don't get hoodwinked. And I take that obligation extremely seriously. Now, if it upsets people, tough luck. I am who I am, and I say it as I see it. Now, if somebody wants to go out there and prove it wrong what I said, and I was wrong, I will be absolutely the first one to be apologizing, and I will thank anyone who can point me that I was wrong. We have Ottawa, Ontario. We have Research Associates, editor of an Arabic page. Stephen Lenman, Chicago, Illinois. Professor Peter Phillips. And if these guys got professor names in front of them, you know they're dirty. You just know they're dirty. Professor James Petrus, State University, New York. Peter Phillips, Media Freedom Foundation, Sonoma, California. You know that boy's dirty. Professor Peter Dale Scott, Berkeley, California, Research Associate. You know that boy's dirty. Global Research Correspondence. Felicia, I can't remember, Arbuthnot, Correspondent, Human Rights. That's UN crap. Inder Komar, JD Correspondent, Law and Justice, San Francisco. You know that's UN crap. You know that's international law coming down your throat. Okay, now while a lot of these stories on here may make sense, if you know how to read them, you're going to dig out what's wrong with them. Now, we all know the disinfo depends a lot on having a lot of truth in there. So Michael, again, who runs this thing, is the GTR TV producer. James Corbett is the GRTV film director from Okinawa, Japan. And we've got the coordinator from Mondialization TV. And this stuff's being broadcast into the universities on the university radios and that. You know they're dirty. So if somebody can get James on this show, I will be extremely thankful because I'd really like to talk to James. I'd like to have a nice, quiet conversation with him just as I did with Kevin Annett. And Kevin enjoyed the interview and I enjoyed the interview. I hear music. Thursday night I'm going to have Enos on here and we're going to talk about what's going on the ground in Canada and what these guys are doing to back these criminals up. They're doing a damn fine job. So remember, participate, research, read, check out who the hell you're listening to. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I didn't do this to ruffle anybody's feathers. Who I am and what I do. That's the end of this show. I want to thank and hope you guys take care.